Aloha, mud babies, pod people, and inhabitants of the planet Earth. It is I, your tiki leader, Steve Mudflap McGrew. Well, we finally made it happen. We're getting James Otto today, country superstar James Otto. James, as you might know, was at one time part of the Music Mafia, and I think he actually still is, so we'll ask him about that. Sitting in with us today is Ken Wilson. You guys have heard of Ken on here before. He was the drummer in my band, Uncle Daddy and the Flappin' Jacks, and now plays with Honky Tonk Voodoo around Denver and a lot at Toby Keith's. I love this bar and grill. So let's not waste any more time. Let's jump right in. Here it is, recorded earlier this morning, James Otto. All right, we got James on finally. James Otto is on the line with us after several attempts and bad equipment. So I love that you told me that's the excuse to go get new equipment, and it was. The girlfriend didn't even get mad.
See, it's your work. You have to have that.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Is that what you tell your wife every time you want a new guitar?
Yes, actually, my wife just looked at me and she said, "I heard that before."
It's a tool.
Do you treat yourself to new equipment every now and then, just to make your?
I mean, you got to, man. You got to. First off, you just grow out of it, or just need more to continue to grow as in your job. You know, it's just part of what you do.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe that if you pick up a new guitar somewhere, you like get a different feel, a vibe, and then maybe a song comes out of that.
Dude, every different guitar has a song in it, and that's a fact, man. Different guitars have different songs.
Nice.
So the more you got, the more songs you get.
Do you feel like there's a certain guitar that has a lot of songs in it?
Yeah, you know what? I actually have a couple guitars. My old J200 it has produced hundreds of songs for me, which is fantastic. It's probably about 15 years old now, and I've got a Black Dove that I play to that John Rich gave me years ago. It's from the early '90s. That's got tons of songs in it too.
So you and John were working together with the Music Mafia. How did that actually happen?
Oh, man, Music Mafia came together basically as just a bunch of friends that wanted to do something different in Nashville. You know, we had all grown tired of the same old with songwriters nights, and it just was a new way to do it. It was, a group of friends getting together to play songs.
Who came up with let's call ourselves Music Mafia?
You know what? I don't even remember exactly how it came up. I just remember being called into a gathering. It was Dick Kenny and John Rich and John Nicholson and Corey Gearman, and they started talking about Music Mafia and it being musically artistic friends and alliance is what Mafia was for them, and that's where it was born. Was really out of the idea of all of us getting together and being more powerful as a group than we were apart.
Yeah, I've always liked the idea of a group called the Mafia, like the Music Mafia or the Memphis Mafia.
Exactly.
But now everything is, and I can't figure out which one is more hip and now, are posse or crew? Because you hear that all the time now. Are you part of my posse or my crew?
You should start a comedy crew. Then you need a group of dudes or a group of dudes and girls that all. That can band together and bring your resources together and just put on crazy shows wherever you go and attract attention.
The crew.
That's a good idea.
The crew is more modern now than the posse. The posse was very 90s rap?
Yes. Posse isn't where it's at anymore. No.
Yeah, because that's what I was saying. Cause it's my posse and just sounds dated.
No, yeah, nobody wants to be part of a posse.
A little bit.
So what are you working on now? What is your
Man, I've been working on a bunch of new music, been writing pretty much every day. And that's, what's always treated me so good in this business was just sitting down with a guitar and looking for new songs and seeing what happens. And, that's how I got my first record deal, was basically just out playing the songs that I've been writing. And right now, for me, as much time as I can get at home with my daughter, when she's this age, when I can bond with her, is a good thing, and songwriting is keeping me there. But I'm working on a new record and putting all of that together as this goes by. But I want to make sure that I have the formula right when it comes around, and I'm just spending time working on that, kind of mad scientist in the studio a little bit.
Right, with new equipment.
Yeah, you got it, buddy.
Yeah. So, what was I going to? Where'd this go? I had a. Oh, I was going to ask you. I talked to years ago. I was lucky enough to meet Harlan Howard in Nashville.
Oh yeah.
And I was asking him about songwriting, and I said, how do you get your ideas? Is it a story? Is it a hook? Because he always did those kind of like drop kick me Jesus to the goalposts of life kind of things.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And he said it comes to him all in every way, but a lot of times he'll get the hook and then write a song to go with it.
You know what? I think that first off, asking Harlan Howard about songwriting was the perfect way to do it. The fact that you got the chance to do it, that's straight from the horse's mouth. That's the guy that pretty much owned Nashville. I don't think anybody's ever had as many cuts as him before or after. So he's a songwriting master. So good for you for getting the chance to sit and talk to him. But yeah, man, I've written songs from hooks. I keep a little book of hooks and things that catch your ear. You hear sayings or something that it piques your interest in a conversation. I'll just write stuff down and explore that idea later. Sit down with a guitar and start exploring what that could mean. And that's how songs get written. When Jamie and I wrote In Color, it was you should have seen it in color was something that was said in conversation to him, and he was like, "Wow, man, that can mean a lot. That's an amazing thing." And he brought that idea in, and we sat and talked about what it meant to us. And one of my favorite songs I've ever written came out of that session. I was really truly proud of that. So you never know what you might read or you might see or that might trigger a thought that becomes a song, and you just got to keep your mind open that way.
Yeah, and that line itself is just sheer poetry. That's, you could have said you wouldn't know it unless you'd been there, but to
right.
say to see it in color, that is just sheer.
It's genius.
Genius.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it was an amazing day, and that song has been tremendously good to me and my family, and man, those are so far and few between. I've written thousands of songs, and those just don't come along very often.
Yeah. So, what is your new favorite song right now that you've written?
That I've written?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's a tough one. I've the problem that you get into, and I'm sure it's the same with writing jokes, is that it could be new material that you're working on, and one day you go out and you kill with it, and you go, okay, I really love this. This is really great. But it can change from week to week. But right now, one of the favorite songs that I've written lately is a song called Holding Her that I wrote with Chris Jansen, who's got a deal on Big Machine Records. Is one of my favorite artists around. I saw him years ago. He came out to a Music Mafia with all of the guys from Velvet Revolver, actually, and got on stage and ended up jamming. He's an amazing harp player and great frontman, one of the best guys I've ever seen in a frontman. And he's also an excellent songwriter. We wrote a song, we're both new dads of little girls, and we wrote the song called Holding Her. And It's about how that changes your life, man. How it really changes who you are in ways that are hard to express,
Oh, I know. I wrote a poem years ago when my little boy was little. He was hiding in the closet, and I walked by, and he opened the door. He's probably 4 time, and he opened the door and goes, "Boo, Daddy!" And
yep.
he laughed his ass off that he had scared me, And then I wrote this poem about how that was just the first scare in a series that you have to live through, with the time
right. You're gonna have a lot of scares with a little boy.
Right, the call you get from the school to come down, they've been hurt,
right.
Those kind of the call that you get from, and I don't even know what I ever did with that. But when you brought that up, I was like, I did. I remember those.
You got to find that.
Those little things about your kid trigger things,
Well, that's exactly where a song would be found. You know, that's the same place that you wrote that poem from is where we write songs from, and it's about you know, how those things affect your life, and how a small thing like that can reverberate through different aspects of your life is an interesting thing. You know, and that always makes for interesting songs.
A song like that, everybody can relate to. That's what's good about a song like that. Anybody that's ever had a kid hears something like that and goes, "Oh, my heart."
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Yeah, you know, the thing that I find with songwriting is the more that I write about me and the more that I write about the things that I've gone through and the way that I feel, I notice that people relate because the human experience, although we're all very different, we all go through many of the very same emotions and you know, the different aspects of life together. And so the more that you can remind people that, you know, you're more like them, I think that the more they relate to your songs.
Right. Now, do you think that's why maybe so many singer-songwriters of the past were so popular? Because, you know, I don't think we have as many now singer-songwriters as we used to.
No, you know, there's a lot of artists these days, and, you know, I guess I use that term a little loosely, singers these days that aren't necessarily songwriters, and I can definitely appreciate that, man, because, look, there's some amazing singers like George Strait, who've only written a song or two. He's had one or two songs in his past that he was a part of, but I can't imagine country music without George Strait. But also, the singer-songwriter is the lifeblood of Nashville. It's whether that's what makes it to country radio or not is irrelevant to me. It's what makes Nashville Nashville, and it's what makes those big stars who they are, because those singer-songwriters are the power behind the throne here in Nashville.
Well, let me ask you if you don't have to answer if you're going to feel like you're stepping on toes. What do you think about some of the stuff that's coming out of Nashville right now? I heard somebody the other day describe it as chanting, that they're not really singing songs. There's a lot of chanting, like the new Taylor Swift song. There's not really a song behind it as much as there's this, I'm going to talk my way through stuff.
You know, I actually like that song. I see exactly why it's popular. It's
catchy.
The way that it's structured is very poppy for sure. And yeah, I can also understand where they're talking about chanting. You know, it's a thing that is where anybody can memorize it very quickly.
Yeah, it's that whole. I'm driving on a dirt road. I got my radio on. I've got my, you know, that kind of thing. You know.
But you can either roll with that, or you can, or you can just drop out. Because I think here's the thing: is that our attention spans as humans these days is getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and they're dividing up every bit of attention span that you have between commercials and TV and internet and movies and everything else. So the fact that Taylor has been able to craft songs into something that people hear and remember and can sing back is really kind of amazing, honestly. It's getting more and more difficult to get people to pay attention. So if you have a lyric that is deeper and makes people think when they're driving down the road with 20 other things going on in their life, you may not be able to get through. You just may not be able to. You know what I mean? And so it's people that really love the singer-songwriters. Those are the people that sit down and listen to lyrics. Those are the people that sit down and really care about what that artist has to say. I'm not sure that that's what's necessarily going on, but I'm also not sure that that's the game that they're trying to play. You know what I mean? They're trying to compete with everything else that's going on out there. So it's really hard for artistry, the way that you're talking about it, to live. It just is. The world that we're living in isn't necessarily an artistic place, and you have to slow down the way that you live life and the way that you ingest things to ingest art. You have to stop and you have to listen, and that's why I like putting on vinyl records. Like, buying vinyl to me is a sitting down and actively listening to music. It's not I'm flipping through my iPod listening to this, listening to that. It's I'm going to put on a record. I'm going to put the needle down there, and I'm going to sit and listen to music. and you can't just walk away from it because you'll end up at the end of the record scratching and making a bunch of noise. So it's a moment of going, okay, I'm going to stop and I'm going to actually listen to what this person has to say.
Well, do you think that's why vinyl is making a comeback? That's really, now with the hipsters, they're releasing vinyl again.
I think that it's a great thing that they're doing that. If it's hipsters that made it happen, I'm okay with that. The hipster culture in general seems strange to me, but
it's weird.
If that's something that they bring back to the table, I'm okay with it. I think that's a beautiful thing. I've got myself an old hi-fi from the 70s that sounds amazing. It doesn't sound like anything like these hyped-up stereos that you hear today. It sounds warm. It sounds analog. And when I put on a record, it just it brings me to a place that music on an iPod doesn't.
Yeah, Kenny's over here nodding his head. He's a sound guy. That's one of the things he does at Toby Keith's bar. So you feel that same way about the sound.
The deal.
Right?
Oh, exactly. I think there's the vinyl medium is amazing, and the digital sound you can't get, and a lot of bands, James, come in with the most high-tech digital equipment, and they just kind of lose that warmth. Not that it's not amazing, but the warmth is gone.
Yeah, it's just a new thing. Look, you know what? Music sounds like it sounds today, and they make sound systems to reproduce what they're recording today.
Yes.
To me, when I put on music, I like that warmth and that analog sound. There's just nothing like that. That's why I play tube guitar amps instead of a solid state amp, because it just sounds warmer. It brings a tone that nothing else can reproduce besides a tube. And and that's caring about the medium. That's something that means something to like people, like I said, singer-songwriters or audiophiles or people that are just really into great music, and they want to spend their life involved in that kind of thing. And that's how I've spent my life. So it means something to me. Now, I also understand the casual fan that just turns on the radio and listens to what's going on down the road. I like a lot of the music that's going on in country music today, and I understand what it's doing to and what the mission is. So I don't really complain about it too much. I have both sides of those personality, and both of them are okay.
Absolutely.
I'm learning to like both sides. I grew up, really loving Hank Jr. and Merle and,
Me too.
Just that kind, anything that started with the Nick near,
Yep.
That just said that's going to be a great song to me. If it just started, you go, okay, this is country right here.
Exactly.
And so
it's still out there though. You have the Jamie Johnsons. You have great songs that come on the radio that are reminiscent of that thing. Like there's a song that I heard the other day on the radio for the first time by Thomas Rhett, "You're with Jesus." I thought it was clever. I thought it was really smart, and I thought it was well written. And things like that come along every once in a while. But look, every song that comes on the radio shouldn't make you pull over and think. Some of them just want to make you feel good, and I think that's okay too.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
But songs like Bradley Gaskin's "Mr. Bartender," I thought was like this is going to be a monster hit because it was so well done. It sounded like an old classic, and then it dropped.
Probably made people think too much, or they had to think instead of just listening to it and ingesting it. They had to stop and put more of their attention span than they could while they were driving to work in the morning of the 7 a.m. drive.
Yeah.
That's just not. Everything's not going to work that way, man, and it's not designed to work that way. And like I said, if you can accept those things and know what they are, and then I think that you can be miles ahead of the game. And I'm at that point. I'm at the point where, you know what, I see why people are doing what they're doing right now, and I'm okay with it.
Well, you're one of the guys, and Jason Aldean, that kind of really opened my eyes to, like, country music is wider than the steel guitar.
Yeah, man, it is. It is, and it's a much bigger genre than it's ever been. And you have people like Taylor Swift that opens up country music to a much larger audience than we'd ever get before. Whether you like Taylor's music or not, she brings so many people to this genre that I can't help but think it's a good thing. I think that whatever gets people to tune to a country station and go, hey, I can get down with that. I really like Taylor Swift. and then they find Jason Aldean, or they find whatever it is on the station that they love that brings them to our format. I think that's a good thing. People said the same thing about Travis Tritt or about Johnny Cash.
Exactly.
They're not country. Well, they are now, and
Yeah.
they defined country over a period of time. And so country music is just like rock and roll. If rock and roll was still the Beatles, I would personally love it, but it's not. It has to change, and it has to grow, and it has to become a bigger thing. And country music is. It's a huge market, and it's a cool thing to be to have all kinds of different music in, I think.
I agree with that. And also, every person that comes to country, the advertisers will tell you they bring their dollars with them, and that allows the money to flow to Nashville instead of Hollywood or something, and it creates more revenue for real singer-songwriter artists to have backing to do what they love to do also. I think it generates revenue, and that's what it's all about.
Right. Well, it does, and it keeps, it's keeping the lights on here in town. Since I've been in Nashville, the community has shrunk so drastically due to the changes in the business with piracy and with the things that are going on in the world that we can't control anymore. The internet is great for a lot of things. It's not been great for the music business. It's been really bad in a lot of ways. Now, a lot of more music gets exposed, but if you can't get paid for the music you're making, well, then you're going to end up working at Home Depot or whoever's going to hire you with your limited skill set because you put your whole life into creating songs or learning to play guitar, and that was your skill.
Right.
And when that's taken away from you because you're not able to make a living doing that anymore because people aren't willing to pay for music, then, it's going to hurt a lot of people, and it's really, really been hard on Nashville. I mean, when I came here, there were almost 20 major label records here, and now we're down to almost 3. So it's been an amazing thing. I've seen hundreds of writers lose their writing deals, companies going out of business, and it's a really small crew that's able to make a living here in town anymore. And I'm really feel blessed to be one of those people.
Yeah, we're talking to James Otto right now on the podcast. Just to reset, James, I want to ask you though. I've heard people say that the internet though has been great for the indie people. That they start these indie labels and they can sell their songs for 99 cents and not have to, give it to the company. So what is your take on that?
Well, I think that you can, there probably are a few indie labels that have done well. I think Third Man Records here with Jack White has done quite well. And it's, that Jack was able to build a large following by having been on a major label and having the advantages that provides. And like I said, I love indie records. They're the ones that brought back vinyl. I think that's a fantastic thing, finding a way to survive. But there's many indie labels that will tell you that life is hard out there, man. They're struggling for every single dollar. And, if that's what happens, if indie labels blew up and we're becoming, these monoliths of the music business and making so much money, you would hear a lot more about it than you are, but it just isn't happening like that.
That's true. That makes sense.
Yeah, you'd hear a lot more about it. You'd see a lot of people investing money in those things, and it's just not the way of the world. They're making enough money to get by and maybe pay their artists, but you look at all the different streaming services and all of the things that are going on with that. There's so many different aspects to this that we could talk for hours with Spotify and versus iTunes and, owning versus streaming and all that stuff. And what it all boils down to is that people don't purchase records anymore unless you buy vinyl. They don't purchase entire albums. They purchase a song at a time. So you're selling singles like they did back in the 50s.
Right, that 99 cents.
So the art of making an album is disappearing fast. It's turning into you have to have a song that's going to move units. And so, again, you have that issue of you talk about chanting or whatever it is. It's whatever grabs that attention and sells that single. And, I can't fault anybody that's able to figure out how to do it because it's a tough business.
Yeah, it's turned. The album used to be a story and experience in itself. Now singles are just little sound bites. You can pick up little sound bites, but you never hear the whole story
I do
like an album used to be.
Like a theme album, like that was the concept album.
Oh, I'm sure that every one of us on this podcast right now probably has Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon.
True.
It was on the charts It was on the charts for years, the Billboard Hot 100 for sales. It was on for decades, sold for decades, and you'll never, ever, ever have an album like that again.
No, I think the last concept album that I saw, or that I actually remember buying, was Marty Stewart did one called The Pilgrim.
That's a great record. I've got that too.
That's really good.
Yeah, a country concept record. I wonder. Jamie Johnson is a guy that could create a record like that, and has talked about it. We've sat around and talked about Redheaded Stranger.
Yeah, I love that.
The amazing Willie Nelson record. That's a concept record from beginning to end. Yeah, that's amazing stuff. And that kind of art, though, you have to sit down and listen to that from beginning to end multiple times to understand what's happening. And it's so worthwhile to do that. I've gotten so much out of that record over the years that, there's only a handful of albums that I can name that have affected me in that way. And it's Redheaded Stranger. Dark Side of the Moon definitely had one of those effects on me when I was in my younger years. It was something that was a huge thing for me. But, I'm not sure that kind of thing is ever going to happen again. Now, There's new ways that you can do that with the internet and new interactive ways. But I'm not sure that it's the same kind of thing. I'm not sure that you can ever get anybody's attention like you used to in the past.
There'll never be another Pinball Wizard album?
Probably not. Probably not.
No,
there's going to be, you got to, whatever you're doing, you got to get that single on the radio and get people's attention enough to bother to listen to more than one or two of your songs. And that's just not how younger people are listening to music anymore. They're buying a la carte and picking up a single at a time. And to get somebody to stop, spend $10 and actually listen to a record from beginning to end and really digest that is asking a lot.
Yeah, my girlfriend Janet, we call her Miss Thing here on the podcast. She is a CD freak. I mean, it's all about the album to her.
I love that too.
I mean, it's every song. She'll come in. Every song on this one's good. I liked all of them, but cut 8. I mean, that's the way she treats music. I think that's kind of cool.
I do too. And what we were talking earlier about people creating good music right now and what's going on in country music. Man, there's some really good music out there. The new Eric Church album, Chief, is really, really a great album. There's great songs from beginning to end. The last several Miranda Lambert records are fantastic. There's a lot of good music going on in country music. A lot of stuff that I can get behind.
I'm glad you brought up Miranda, because we the girlfriend Miranda is it. Can do no wrongs. Just like she's she's sliced bread. And
I can't blame her, man. I love everything she does. I think that the Pistol Annie stuff is amazing. And she's somebody that's pushing forward with the genre. She's a real singer-songwriter. She's a real, genuine talent, and somebody that's got, hey, I know she's a woman, but she's got a huge pair of balls. She
she
does whatever she wants.
Well,
and it's awesome.
Well, here's where the dilemma came in, because I love Miranda, but I think Pistol Annie's is one of the greatest things ever. I actually said, is it bad that I think Pistol Annie's might be better than Miranda? And she goes, oh, blasphemy.
Hey, Miranda might think the same thing. She chose to take a big chance and take her friends that she loves and go and make a record right in the middle of her career blowing up. And you don't know how much of a big deal that is in the music business. People go, you can't do that. You need to concentrate on you. Well, she took some of her very best friends that she believed in and loved the music they were making and took a huge chance by putting out a record. And it paid off big for her. And I think that those kind of things, that kind of commitment to great music is what it takes to be a real artist. And she's a real artist. There's only a handful of those out there.
Yeah, I think there might have been some record company execs just shitting on themselves. Like, you want to do what? You want to do what?
I guarantee it.
Your own album just came out.
Yep. It's a fact.
But I think that's what makes Miranda, and people love her, is like, hey, this is what I'm doing. Love me, hate me.
Right. Like James said, she's got huge balls.
Huge balls.
Hey, James, I got a question for you. The way the music industry has turned around, we've been discussing, the singles, the iPod, the computer. How do you think it's affected the live performances? Do you think people want to come out and see them more, or do you think they're kind of falling off of that also? Because you can't replace a live performance with anything.
No, you can't. Everybody's excuse online for piracy is, well, I'll go out and if I like their music when I get it online and I get it for free, well, I'll go out and buy their T-shirt, or I'll go out and see their concert. And if you take a look at what's gone on in the last couple of years of touring, that just doesn't bear out. That's just complete BS.
Right.
It just doesn't bear out in the numbers. It doesn't bear out in what's happening in our business. So it's just a convenient excuse to feel good about taking what doesn't belong to you, and I think that's a problem. I wish that's the way it worked out, because if it was, you'd see a lot of great artists starting to be able to make a great living like that. Eric Church has been able to build a great following, but he's also sold a lot of music along the way, and it's within the help of a major label that helped press him into the mainstream.
Agreed.
Yeah. Now, what is your take, James, on people that videotape your live performance and put them on YouTube?
I don't have a problem with that necessarily. The only thing that I don't like about that is they're not engaged in actually watching you anymore. They'll stand in the front row with a camera up to their face and stand completely still and film you instead of actually watching your show.
Oh, yeah, because they're watching you through the lens and not really enjoying the feel.
Right. Right. So instead of actually seeing your live show, they're watching it on a tiny screen on a phone while recording you. I like seeing my performances on the internet. I think that's one thing that's my calling card, man. What I do is my calling card. If you see what I do and you like it, then hey, who knows?
Yeah.
But
it's all show business.
It is. It's show business, and I don't know that you can stop that train from rolling down the tracks. It's got steam and it's rolling, and there's no turning it back now. But I don't know what people get out of standing at a concert and looking through a lens instead of actually enjoying the show you're there to see. To me, you're disengaging with what's happening then.
It's true, and I see a lot of people doing that also, even at dinner with their iPhones or their iPods or their computers, and people are used to watching other people live their life and not really living one of their own. They're voyeurs.
Well, maybe that's what reality TV has done to us. It just makes us think we need to be watching other people to have a good time.
Exactly.
Well, when I sit, and I've done this many times, I've gotten into the habit of going to dinner and sitting and looking at my phone and checking Twitter or checking Facebook, or just generally disengaging with whoever is there at the table with me instead of actively engaging that person. And I think that really what that says is that, hey, I'd rather be with people on the internet than be with you, who I'm here with right now, and it's just rude as can be. So.
Ooh.
Well, I think we're all guilty of that, and I don't think it's intentional.
Well, there's a new game going around. I read about this the other day, that if you go out with friends, you're supposed to all put your cell phones in a pile.
Nice.
And the first one that goes for the cell phone has to pay the entire bill.
Oh,
that's a good
game.
That's a good game.
That is a good game.
I don't know if I could play that game.
You would lose.
I don't make enough money.
You would lose.
I'd be broke. I would be broke.
Hey, so would I, man. It's tough. It's one of those things. Like I said, I'm guilty of it too. It happens. So what are you going to do? It's a hard habit to break.
Well, let's ask you before you get out of here today. Today is 9/11. 11 years.
Mm-hmm.
11 years today. Do you remember?
Hard to believe.
It's flown by, hasn't it?
It has.
Yeah, it really has.
Do you remember where you were when you heard it?
Yeah, I remember exactly where I was. Actually, I was woken up by a phone call. I was the first plane had just hit, and my friend Justin Smith called me and said, "Hey, turn on the TV." Like basically, he was saying the world's coming to an end. Like we were being attacked.
Ah.
And I turned on the TV and sat and watched what was happening there, and then watched live as the second one hit the second tower, and was just like floored. I mean, I was in the studio cutting my first record for Mercury Records, the Days of Our Lives album, and I remember everybody showed up that day to work, and we were all just, in a different world. Like everybody was just in shock.
2 days to work.
Yeah, it was just a really tough thing to see and to comprehend. As a human being, what in the world just happened? And it's still hard to think about it now. Being 11 years ago, it feels like yesterday. And I literally remember it like yesterday. It's seared into my mind.
Well, how do you think, it's being 11 years and it's never happened again in any way, shape, or form. Yet in other countries, you hear every day about another bomb went off in the marketplace and another bomb blew up at, such and such. How have we managed to keep it down, do you think?
Well, there's been attempts, the Times Square, and also Abdul Mateen, the guy that flew in on Christmas from Yemen. With the underwear bomber,
right?
He that was an attempt. I'm not sure that I'm naive enough to believe that that's the only reason that we haven't been attacked is because of our security is so good. But Britain's security is amazing, and they've had problems, and I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is. It's a really interesting question, and yes, a lot of the world still is dealing with terrorism. It's a real thing. I'm not sure exactly why it hasn't happened here. I think there's lots of conspiracy theories, but who knows?
Yeah. So, on the conspiracy theory, do you lean toward they knew or it was totally out of nowhere?
I'm not a conspiracy theory guy. I think that you can look at evidence and paint it in a lot of different ways especially when the evidence is presented by somebody on the internet without having to actually represent the facts 100%. They can take pieces of it and make you believe all kinds of things. But I don't know. That's an interesting thing to look at and try to draw a conclusion from. I mean, we can all look back on JFK and go, well, was it multiple shooters or was it one? And there really is no good answer for it.
Kenny's nodding his head. Kenny is a big JFK. What do you say, Kenny?
Well, no, it's hindsight is a wonderful yet drastic thing in the fact that you can look back at something and go, well, or talking about 9/11. Well, maybe they didn't disseminate the intelligence. We can look back at it and go, didn't you see that? Well, no, they didn't. I don't believe it was a conspiracy. The JFK thing is going to go on forever.
Forever.
Forever. So, you can always look back at something and, backseat drive or armchair quarterback it and come up with a different thing. But there in the moment, you just can't,
Yeah.
Well, they do the same thing with Pearl Harbor. That we let Pearl Harbor happen so that we could get into the war.
Agreed.
I just don't. I don't believe that.
No.
I can't imagine that we're going to allow that many of our ships to be sunk at a time when we need every piece of machinery that we can get to fight a war like that. To defend ourselves.
See, that's what common sense sounds like.
Well, that is common sense, and no, there's no way that Roosevelt would have let that happen, and. But now they say, oh, of course he did. That's the only way it would have happened.
Yeah, because they knew 2 hours ahead of time or whatever.
No, it's not. And Roosevelt was Secretary of the Navy and helped build that fleet 30 years before that. He had an emotional tie to that entire. Besides being the president, there's no way that was a conspiracy that he allowed to happen.
Yeah. All right. Well, we all know how America came together the day after 9/11. I mean, I never felt so proud an American in my life. Flags on everything. Just everywhere. And it sort of dropped off, hasn't it?
Well, 11 years later, we couldn't be more divided.
Exactly.
And what's going on there is that it's the classic divide and conquer. It's politicians knowing that they can use divisive language, divisive issues to split us apart and win control because of that power that it grants them when they get in office, and they can feed whoever their cronies are, whoever the people that got them in office. They're able to basically make a killing for those people for the next 4 years and set up It's about doing whatever you can to gain power, and that's what they're doing.
The whole United States thing, it just seems bogus.
Well, and they're tearing us apart from inside. I had to talk, James, with our lead singer the other night because he'd made a comment about, raise your kids Republican. I'm like, stop that. Stop that. Let's embrace the other party no matter what side. And I'm independent, but we need to embrace each other's party and quit being divided by people so that we can conquer. I think we split the government up into the 3 branches so that they'd fight amongst themselves and wouldn't take over. And now they've got us doing it.
Well, they take the news these days, and everybody else takes the most divisive side and the most extreme part of each party and just carpet bombs the news with it, carpet bombs the internet with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Go, okay, all Republicans are Tea Partiers who don't believe in evolution, or all Democrats are this. So, and it's just, it's ways to take and tear people apart and to make people look foolish and make entire parties look foolish. And it's just, it's hard to witness, and it's hard to see it happening to our country. I am become more of a central guy myself, just because of watching what's happening in the country and being aware and going, oh wow, man, look at what's happening. Look, we are completely divided. We are a nation divided by our own politicians for their own purposes, and that's not the country that I want to live in.
Nor is it the country I want to live in.
Or most people, I think you're like a lot like James. I think a lot of people are in the middle, but just don't know it or want to say it yet.
Right,
right. Well, and it's because people will label you as one thing or another. There's going to be a lot of people that listen to this interview and feel like they know who I am or what that I believe, and it's just not a fact. It takes a lot more than a short conversation or a short TV interview or a short news program to know what's going on in the hearts and minds of people. It's just not that easy. But it is easy to divide people if you take the extremes, and that's what you press every night, and you're doing it 24/7, and that's what's happening.
Yeah, we're being bombarded.
I've always said, and I've thought this for years, that 24-hour news has been one of the worst things that's ever happened to us.
It's horrible.
Because they have to repeat the same story over and over, and you think, oh my God, is it happening again? Psychologically, things slip in your head, and you don't really know it. Because I had this conversation the other day with somebody about all the kidnappings that are going on, and I go, where? Not in our neighborhood or city? Yeah, well, there was just one in Louisiana. In Louisiana, but why are you worried about the kid playing in your neighborhood? See how it scared everybody?
Uh-huh.
Right. Yeah, or the Casey Anthony story. It's running something over and over and over again that it's crazy. The things that go on in the news these days. Do you remember the Miami zombie story?
The bath salts thing.
You remember the guy that ate dude's face off?
Right.
Well, if you followed the news for several days after that, for a week or two after that, that was a really hot story, and it made people click on there. And then you'd see other zombie stories popping up in the news. And it's because they're chasing that. They're chasing those numbers. If you're interested in the Miami zombie story, maybe you'll be interested in this zombie story.
Right.
And they're trying to just get you to click, get you to engage, to sell whatever they're selling on their site, whoever is advertising for them. And so it means clicks. It means it's all about advertising dollars. And so it's not about news anymore. It's about sensational, bombastic, entertainment.
Yeah,
They're trying to get you to tune in and stay tuned in.
Yeah,
and click through.
I said yesterday on the podcast about how some days you might drive through your neighborhood and go, I saw smoke and sirens. I'm going to turn on the news tonight and see what's going on. And you would actually find out on the news, what happened in your neighborhood. But now you turn on the news and you find out what Kardashian had on yesterday. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right. Exactly right. And that to me is one of the big problems here is our celebrity obsessed culture, for sure. And we are talking about a wide range of things on this podcast. I'm worried about some of the things I've said now, but
are you?
But,
I can edit if you are.
No, it's all good. I'm good.
Okay.
I stand behind all the things that I've said. Actually, the deal is that it's much easier to tune out or to look at a Honey Boo Boo and feel better about your life and go, you know what? I'm not so screwed up. My life is okay. Look at those idiots.
Well, yeah. How can you not do that?
That's what's going on there.
Oh, was it not sad that Honey Boo Boo beat the convention in the ratings?
Yeah, the Honey Boo Boo was either tied or beat Bill Clinton for his speech, and that says a lot right there. Yeah, that says an amazing amount, and we kind of get what we deserve. If that's who we are as a people, then we're going to get the politicians we deserve. That's very disturbing to me.
And that kind of, you know what? I'll let that be the last word. That kind of that took us all around in a big circle and said, that's where we are, right there. So, yeah. James, let's get you to plug some stuff before you go. What's your website?
It's jamesotto.net, and you can find me on Twitter. I think it's #JamesOtto. You can also find me on Facebook. Come find me. I'm around, man.
Just find you. Any place since this goes out anywhere? You got some shows coming up you want to plug?
I got shows. Find them on my internet. Go tour on my site. Okay. Go to jamesotto.net. You can see all my tour dates, what's going on with me, what I'm working on. And I do this thing that I really love. It's on stageit.com, and it's basically live acoustic songwriter shows from my studio at the house. You can tune in and catch on what's going on with me, new songs. Sometimes I bring friends in, and I usually do them on Thursday nights. We usually once a month or twice a month we'll do those, and you basically just tune in on your laptop or on your computer, and it's live. It's fun.
That's beautiful. I love that.
That is cool.
I see that you tweet that every once in a while, and I think I should go check that out. And now I really want to check it out because I know what it is. Because I think a lot of people see it and don't really know what stage it was. So this,
what's he talking about?
Yeah.
I've had a big problem with trying to get people to understand a concert on their laptop, like a live concert, and it's got a live chat room, so you can sit and talk, and I read the chat on what's going on and respond and talk to folks, and what I've seen happen with this site is really cool. Is that people will get there a half hour early, like they do at a show, and sit and talk to each other. And a lot of them are, obviously for me, there are a lot of people that are my fans or people that have come to these shows, and they'll sit and talk to each other about what I'm going to play, what they'd want me to play, or what's been going on in the world that day, and they catch up in a chat room prior to my show, just like you would at a regular show.
Right.
And then talk to each other during the show and talk to me. And it's a way that I've of playing music to a group of people that I've never been able to do before, and in a way that I don't think has ever been done before.
You know what's
is an amazing thing.
What's kind of cool, when he said this, I visualized it in my head of him saying people getting there early. I actually visualized people like getting their drinks and sitting down and saying, this is going to be a great night tonight. I saw him 2 weeks ago.
Exactly.
I kind of saw it for a second.
That's exactly what it is. I call my show Thirsty Thursdays because I usually do it on Thursday nights.
Right.
I'll bring a cocktail, sit in front of my laptop, and everybody else. That's one of the first things that I ask everybody: "What you bring? What you drinking?" And I end up contributing to people getting drunk in front of their computers on a Thursday night.
Kenny's nodding. He's like, I'm in. I'm in.
I'm in.
Well, James, I appreciate you doing this, taking the time. I know it's taken us a while to do it, but I'm so happy that you did do it.
Oh, man, thanks for having me, Mudflap. I appreciate it, man. I really enjoyed it. I'm sorry it took so long to get together.
No, that's cool. And if you ever want to do it again, you holler. If you got a subject you want to, or, we're happy to have you.
After this, you know that I've got an opinion on everything.
I love that.
Love it.
All right, everybody. James Otto. Thank you, James. I appreciate it. We'll
Later,
see
man.
you
Take
later.
care. Bye-bye.
Want to say thanks to James Otto for calling in and doing the podcast with us. That's it. We had a celebrity. We actually had a celebrity on the show. Woohoo! Well, we're moving on up. James, pick up James's stuff. James Otto. If you don't know James, you should. Google, bitches. And now it's time to bring in Miss Thang. And Miss Thang with the news. Hello, Miss Thang.
Hello.
How are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Did you see the message the other day where I said something about possibly changing your intro to misinformation?
No, I did not.
No. So what do you think about misinformation?
That sounds so boring.
It does?
Vanilla.
Well, it's information, and you're and then you misinform people.
I misinform people?
Well, no, you don't do that all the time, but that's kind of the funny thing.
Are you taking away my Miss Thing title?
No, I'm not.
Am I not Miss Thing anymore?
No, it would be Miss Thing.
It's been 2.5 years,
It'd be
so
Miss
I guess
Thing
it's
with
Miss
misinformation.
Boring.
See the parody? The parody
I got
on
it.
words?
I got it. Yeah.
But I think all things considered, probably still
Right.
the best, right?
If you start changing my name, I'll start changing your name.
To Mud.
No.
Wait, that is my name.
How about Flop?
Mud Flop.
Belly Flop.
Mud Flop. I don't think I like it.
Yeah,
No,
I don't like misinformation either.
Okay, let's leave it. We'll just leave everything the way it is then.
All right. Thanks for putting that to a vote.
Sure. What you got tonight?
I got some stuff that I thought of you when I read, and I was like, I should share this with the world.
Okay, bring it.
All right, a Maryland man hit a grand slam this summer playing the state lottery. He had 4 winning tickets, totaling $101,000 in prize money. Four! Crazy. Donald Donnie Cole III of Brookville won $50,000 on June 26th, another $50,000 on July 26th, and then $1,000 earlier this week.
And then poor bastards like us that play every lotto don't get to win a thing.
But he's got a mullet.
You think with that kind of money he could afford a real haircut?
Well, he just got the check.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, he could go to that place, Larry's, that fixes $10 haircuts.
Did you talk about that?
No.
We were in Salida this last weekend, walking down the street, all these cute little shops. We come across Larry's Barbershop.
Yeah, just an old-timey barbershop.
And it had the cutest little, the red, white, and blue,
Barber
instead of the
poles.
pole, but it was that tin thing that twirls in the wind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they're called, but it was really cute.
Wind things that twirl.
There you go. And on the, it said, we fix $10 haircuts.
Right.
I'm like, that's cool. Like, I'm thinking Supercuts or something like that. Some
just
big
a
fancy.
bad chain haircuts.
So we keep walking, and 2 doors down, there is Floyd's Barbershop. $10 haircuts.
Yeah, their actual
hilarious.
sign in Floyd
Yes.
said Floyd's $10 haircuts $10.
Yeah. So that was like, you think Floyd and what was the other guy? Larry? You think they shared a barbershop and then they had a rift? And so Floyd opened up his?
No.
Oh.
Because Floyd's is a chain.
But this didn't look like, I've seen Floyd's, the
Yeah,
chain.
but no, that logo was the same lettering.
Okay.
I mean, it was just in a different
See, I
building.
created this whole story in my head.
Did you?
I
That
should write
Floyd and
books.
Larry had an old
Had a
barbershop
falling
together.
out, so Floyd's
And
like,
they said,
fine,
"Screw you,
I'm
old man."
going out on my own. And so he did 2 doors down.
And Larry thought Floyd wasn't any good, so he's like, I'll just fix all his haircuts.
Yeah.
All right.
It was quite funny. You think they get the humor?
I think so.
Okay. Well, Homeland Security is scaring me a little bit.
What have they done?
The zombies are coming, the Homeland Security Department says.
Our government is talking about zombies?
Yeah. Tongue firmly in cheek, the government urged citizens last Thursday to prepare for a zombie apocalypse.
I say bullshit. I think they might say tongue in cheek, but I think it's code for something.
Well, it's part of a public health campaign to encourage better preparation for genuine disasters and emergencies. The theory, if you're prepared for a zombie attack, the same preparations will help during a hurricane, pandemic, earthquake, or terrorist attack.
Or the Obama administration.
Oh, dear.
All right, how about this? For any other political party's administration. Because they're all liars. We all know it.
Yeah.
I just wish somebody would come in and clean house. Maybe I'd vote a zombie in at this point. He would come in and eat everybody and clean house.
Picture? Yui.
Ooh.
That's a good zombie picture.
That's nice. Is that your ex? I'm kidding. Kind of.
Wow. So, yep, zombies are coming. Get prepared so that you'll be prepared for anything. What are you looking at?
Pooh Bear.
Podcat.
Mm-hmm.
What's she doing?
She's over there trying to stay out of camera shot. If you notice that, look, she's just
shy.
on the other side of the camera.
Do you think she really knows?
No.
That would be cool if she did. I'm going to tweet this picture of the zombie right now.
Okay.
so that people can see what we're talking about.
And they can find you on Twitter at
PinkBarb27.
And they now can follow the show on Twitter at Remasculate.
Is there a dash?
No, just at Remasculate. Some places have let me have Remasculate, and then other places are RE-Masculate.
Right. That's going to get confusing. You should have kept it like the same thing across the board.
Probably, but I had to do what I had to do.
Great. That is a creepy zombie picture. Let's carry on with the news. You ready?
Okay, ready.
In Pennsylvania, a former medical examiner has been arrested on charges of keeping human remains in a rented storage unit in the Florida Panhandle. Dr. Michael Birkland, 57, was arrested Friday on charges of improper storage of hazardous waste, keeping a public nuisance, and driving with a suspended license.
It's against the law to have parts if you're a doctor?
I'm guessing, and the state attorney says more charges are going to be filed. Crudely preserved brains, hearts, lungs, and other organs and specimens were discovered in more than 100 containers last month in a Pensacola storage unit. Birkland had rented for about 3 years. The unit was auctioned off after Birkland defaulted on his payments.
Oh, so it's one of those storage wars.
Oh, imagine opening that.
Yeah. Oh, that would be... Maybe he was getting parts like he was going to do a Frankenstein zombie thing.
Well, he had declared the contents to be household goods, furniture, boxes, sporting goods, and landscaping equipment. Mulch.
Right. Well, how does a doctor not have enough money to pay his storage? What are they, like $15 a month?
Well, he's an ex-doctor.
Oh.
You never know how that happened. The person that bought the unit discovered the human organs after becoming overpowered by a strange smell while sifting through the items. 10 cardboard boxes stacked in a corner of the unit contained numerous individual containers with human remains stored in a liquid substance. Most of the containers were labeled. About half the containers were medical grade, and the other half included soda cups and plastic food containers.
So he had them in Tupperware.
Yeah. I guess Birkland worked as a District 1 medical examiner in Pensacola from 97 to 2003. So he was a government employee. He was a medical examiner.
That explains it. Well, he's probably keeping parts maybe for cases or something that he thought might come in useful later.
I don't know. He was fired in 1996 in Jackson County, Missouri, in a dispute over his caseload and autopsy reports. His doctor's license was ultimately revoked. So he was probably broke by this time.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine buying a storage unit and
finding body parts.
That's why we should never play that game.
Ooh. Yep. That's what that guy says when he bids on a storage.
Oh, I haven't actually ever watched the show.
You've never watched Storage Wars?
I'm a loser. Aren't you going to comment on Storage Wars a little bit more?
No, I was waiting on the next story.
Are my stories good?
Yeah.
Are they
no, I'm
Mudflap grade?
Yeah, no, I'm liking them.
All right. Ben & Jerry's has sued a maker of pornographic DVDs for allegedly infringing the names of its ice cream flavors with movie series called Ben & Cherries. The company changed some of Ben & Jerry's best-known ice cream flavors into titles for its movies, according to the complaint filed by Ben & Jerry's. For instance, Boston Cream Pie became Boston Cream Thighs. Chocolate Fudge Brownie was changed to Chocolate Fudge Babes. And
that's one that you would rent right there. I saw your face light up when you read that. Uh-huh.
Stop giving it all away. And Peanut Butter Cup became Peanut Butter D-Cups. That's one you would rent.
Okay, now we know there's 2 movies we need to go track down.
The DVD jackets also mimic the packaging of Ben & Jerry's ice cream products. According to the lawsuit, Ben & Jerry's is asking the court to stop the company, Rodax Distributors, Inc., from making or selling movies that infringe its trademark. It's also seeking monetary damages.
How much money does it say?
It does not.
No. They got a lot of money. Ben & Jerry's has got a lot of money.
And so why do you think they're taking the time to go after this?
Oh, it's porn, and it's news. Anytime I think you can get yourself in the news, it helps your product. What do they always say? Any press is good press? Well, just spell my name right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Do you believe that any press is good press?
No. Look at Winona Ryder.
About her shoplifting and kind of ruined her career?
Lindsay Lohan.
Well, she keeps herself in the news, though.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason she's famous now. I mean...
Because she's a train wreck.
Right.
I don't know. Who else?
Who else?
Randy Travis.
Yeah. What was it? Yeah, what were you telling me the other day that I missed?
They found his truck behind Walmart wrecked.
And this is after the 2 arrests for the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
See,
I don't know what ended up happening with that, but I know they found his truck. I guess they couldn't really do anything because they can't prove he was driving.
So he probably wrecked it.
And was like, not again.
I got to get home naked.
Ew. That's
What
gross.
is his deal with the churches? That's the other.
Well,
the 2 times he's been
how
arrested.
big is the town he's from? I don't
know. But it's something to do with the church. Both times, church parking lot.
He's trying to repent from his evil ways and thoughts.
Oh, save me from my evil drinking ways.
Let's do a shot.
Strike,
officer, I'm sorry.
Strike 3 crosses.
My grandmother she would be so sad. She loved that song, 3 Wooden Crosses.
Mm-hmm.
She would totally be like, done with him by now.
Aren't you?
Everybody has their demons.
That's what I think. I think it's making him more of he's got some street cred now.
Yeah, but he can't be singing about 3 wooden crosses anymore.
Why? He could find redemption and sing about the song, can he?
Yeah, as he does a shot of Jack Daniels.
What's wrong with that?
Or strawberry wine, whatever he prefers.
George Jones was the big drinker, and he always did gospel albums.
Did he?
Yeah, he's done a bunch of gospel albums.
I wasn't allowed to listen to George Jones growing up.
Really?
Or Elvis, or, yeah.
Because that was the devil's
They
music?
were drinkers, and they did drugs. And
You're just like that kid from the movie Almost Famous, whose mother would not allow him to listen to the albums.
I love that movie. That's one of my favorite movies.
He hid the rock and roll albums from his mom?
Yeah.
Was
I
that
had
you?
to hide the DC Talk CDs from my dad.
That's Christian rock.
I know, but it didn't sound like Christian.
Do you know how freaky this sounds right now?
I know. Aren't you glad I turned out normal?
Yeah.
How's my hat?
As you sit there in a pink robe and a purple Rastafari and ganja hat. Yeah, you're much more normal than I am. Thank God you turned out normal.
You like when I play dress up.
I know. I was quite surprised when I was sitting out here trying to get everything ready for the podcast, and here she comes down the way, like I'm dressed and ready to go. I'm on the runway in my robe and Rasta hat.
It's the end of the day. I'm feeling a little tired.
I know, and you knew you were going to be on camera, so you wanted to look your best.
Oh, I wonder if anybody is listening or watching us on Ustream right now.
Probably.
They're probably asleep. You're missing out.
You're missing the hat, for sure. We still got to figure out one night to try to do this, like, live.
Do you want to do, like, Wednesday at 7?
This Wednesday?
Mountain time? Yeah.
We could try that. Let's shoot for it.
Let's do it.
Wednesday.
Set your calendars.
Wednesday night, 7 o'clock.
Mountain time.
Mountain time. We'll try to do it live.
Yes, and I will not wear a ridiculous hat.
Oh, you got to. That's what people tune in for.
You could wear the ridiculous hat.
I've got a few of them.
I know you do.
I'd wear that hat. You haven't seen the new hat I got a while back?
Why don't you share anything with me anymore? Are we drifting apart?
We're falling apart.
What?
No,
you just threw that out there. I can say stuff like that. You can't.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yes.
I bought a 19. It's purple, and it's like a 1960s kind of hippie hat.
Why wouldn't you share this with me?
I kind of forgot about it. It was
Where is it?
It's in the office now, but it was in the truck.
Oh.
And I totally forgot about it because it had fallen down between the seats.
Where'd you buy it?
I got it at Target.
In the girls section?
Do you have to tell everything you know? It doesn't look like a girl's hat. It just looks like a hippie hat.
Okay.
Because I was looking at maybe it all fell into place one day when I was looking at old rock and roll pictures.
Uh-huh.
And there was a picture of Hendrix in a hat a lot like that. And then I was at Target the same afternoon. I go, that's like the hat Hendrix wore in that picture.
And
so
you're like,
I'm
gotta
going to
buy
get that.
it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Are you ready for the next news story?
Yes, bring
it's
it
very
on.
Biblical.
We'll get off my girl hat.
Okay.
So, okay, we'll get off the girl hat. It's very biblical. I can't listen to George Jones and Randy Travis because it's not religious. Now
So
let's
let's
go
keep
to
it
this
on the
story.
Bible.
Okay.
Elvis Presley's old Bible was auctioned for a whopping $94,600 on Saturday.
Whoa.
But bidders turned their noses up at a pair of the King of Rock and Roll's stained underpants.
Seriously, underwear?
Yep. The Bible was reportedly given to the singer at his Graceland home in 1957 and bought by an American man based in Britain. But a pair of Presley's soiled and frankly pretty gross tighty-whities worn underneath his white jumpsuit during a 1977 concert, which is the year he died.
Right, that was when he was big and nasty.
Only reached a bid of about $8,000. Only $8,000.
For a pair of Elvis's shitty underwear.
Wow, the reserve price was about $11,000, so it didn't sell.
Oh, somebody still has his underwear.
Yeah, there's a picture.
Is it yellow stain or poopy stain? Let me see. She's handing me the iPad right now.
I'm gonna post it on my Twitter.
Oh!
I'm gonna post it on my Twitter.
That is, he's got pee stains.
Yeah.
It is pee stains in his underwear.
It's gonna be on Twitter, PinkBarb27.
Oh, you got to see this.
Yeah. Would you bid on that?
I might.
I could see you bidding on
Just
that.
because of what it is. You know how we talked the other day about owning things that are one of a kind. Like
Right.
that's why I buy certain. Like we went to the antique store the other day, and I bought that pillow. It's one of a kind. And the rocking horse that I have, the antique rocking horse from 1880s, one of a kind. So sometimes you just have to, you know what a conversation piece that would be too. You want to see?
So why do you have soiled underwear on your living room wall? Those belong to the King of Rock and Roll.
Sure they did. That's what we could do. We could just hang a pair of dirty underwear on the wall.
And say they were Elvis's.
They belong to the king.
The king.
Maybe you have to make sure the underwear are from that time period, though. You couldn't have, Urban Outfitter underwear and say, hey, Elvis wore these.
That's true. These look pretty old and white.
Yeah, they're pretty disgusting.
Yeah, I just tweeted the picture.
Yay.
PinkBarb27.
Well, thanks for your news tonight.
Okay.
Are you all done? You said it was your last. I don't mean to do that. I do this every time, but you said that was your last story. So.
No, I said moving on, keeping it biblical.
Oh, then How
are we doing on time?
We'll cut this part out then, maybe. We
probably won't.
We're at 17.
Chris totally called you out on that. You never cut anything.
Well, there's no reason to cut stuff sometimes, but we're at 17 minutes.
Okay.
So we can keep going.
All right. You can cut it into a couple days if you'd like.
All right.
All right.
Or maybe not.
Hollywood suffered its biggest box office bust since after 9/11 this last weekend. We didn't go see movies, and it affected the world.
Which one was it?
No, however you spent your weekend, it probably wasn't at the movies. This past weekend was Hollywood's worst in more than a decade.
Oh, you mean
with films collecting a measly $65 million at the box office across the United States and Canada.
Oh, you mean all movies?
Yes.
I was thinking you meant like horrible one-movie opening. But
yeah, this weekend's #1 film was The Possession, and it only made $9.5 million, with Lawless making $6 million and The Words making $5 million.
The Words is getting crappy reviews. Now, I saw Lawless. It was pretty good. I liked it. I would say it wasn't great. I can't understand this guy, Tom Hardy. He's the guy that plays Bane in Batman, and he's in Lawless. You're acting like you might not know who I'm talking about.
I'm listening.
But I don't understand his appeal or his acting style. The reviews, some of the ones I read said his quiet, strong, acting style. Well, to me, he doesn't really say anything. So, I don't know.
What do you think caused people to avoid the box office?
Was it
one of the last nice weekend?
Last summer, got to get out, get in the boat.
Yeah. In fact, not since just after 9/11, the weekend of September 21st to the 23rd, 2001, when revenues totaled only $59.7 million, has Hollywood had a worse week financially. That's crazy. There's no reason.
Was it maybe Hollywood's not doing as well because there's other...
I know there's no movie that I'm really like, wow, I want to go see it.
When you look at the list... You're turning into an indie movie person now, too.
I am.
That's good.
I love
because you can wear that kind of clothing to an indie movie. You could wear a robe and a purple Rastafarian ganja hat to the Esquire.
I like the Esquire.
It's the popcorn.
All right, so that's it. We're good.
That's it?
I'm out.
You're done?
Uh-huh.
I don't want to cut you off too early.
Wait.
Okay, wait.
One more.
Okay.
The big news over the weekend.
Ba-ba-da-da!
I was a little shocked when I heard this. Our girl got married. Blake Lively married Ryan Reynolds.
What?
I almost ran a red light when I heard this. I was listening to the rock station, and your old friend, what's his name?
Floorwax?
Yeah, they were talking about it. And I'm like, what? It's official. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have tied the knot. Amidst rumors, the movie star couple married this last weekend in South Carolina. And the sources have been confirmed, dressed in a one-of-a-kind couture, hand-draped silk bridal ball gown designed by Marchesa? I don't know. The 25-year-old bride exchanged vows with her 35-year-old honey in a small private ceremony in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina.
Mount Pleasant? No, Mount Pilot. That's the one that Mayberry used to go to. Remember that? We're going into Mount Pilot, Andy.
Oh. They've been dating for less than a year.
They hadn't even talked about it. This is one of those that just snuck up on you.
And Ryan just got divorced a couple years
Scarlett
ago from
Johansson.
Scarlett, yeah. And this is Blake's first wedding.
Is there any word from her, of Scarlett, about?
Not that I've seen. But our girl Blake got married.
Oh. You didn't want to see her movie.
No, I did too.
I wanted to go see Savages, and you were like, I don't know, it looked a little violent.
It was.
You still don't want to see it now?
I guess we could. Oh, these are cute shoes. We should go.
Oh, my God. See what I have to deal with, people? See that? We're trying to have a little podcast here, a little interaction. Oh, these are cute shoes. Now you know why people go, put down the computer and pay attention.
Yeah.
Are you still looking at the shoes?
No, I'm on to scarves. Let's go.
All right, we're out of here. Thanks for the news, Miss Thing.
Do I get to do my Oak Ridge Boys part?
Sure.
All right.
Can you get ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up now. Here we go. Get ready. Thanks for tuning in to Remasculate. Be sure and support our sponsors, Perky Jerky and Pop Chips. You'll find out more information about those two at popchips.com and perkyjerky.com. So, God bless America, and go listen to some Oak Ridge Boys.
Giddy up, bop, mow, mow.
You live for that, don't you?
I really do.
See ya. I bid you adieu.